What is going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and today's video is random. It's weird, but we haven't did an M.F.O in a minute, so I thought it would be really interesting to go over the Game Awards, the nominees. And this is really specific because I have a friend that was specifically trying to tell me that certain game is going to win, but now we get to see one, if his game is even in the contention of it, and two, what the other awards are. Just a fair warning that, of course, it's the M.F.O video, but just so you know, everything in this video is 100% M.F.O. What that means is it's my fucking opinion. In case you guys are unfamiliar with the channel, it just means that I'm going to say and do whatever the hell I want, and feel free to do it in the comment section below. M.F.O is me, obviously. Y.F.O is going to be your fucking opinion, and leave it in the comment section below what you guys think are going to win. Of course, you can get the merch right there, man, the M.F.O shirts and all that other good stuff. So 2020 nominees. Now this is like gonna be super skewed. In order to go here, this is the GameAwards.com nominees. You can only vote if you sign in, so you have to make an account, which I'll probably eventually do because I definitely want to make sure that my friend is not correct. So at first, it starts off right off the bat. Pow! Game of the year. Let me make sure that my body is not blocking it. So we got Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades. I love it from Hercules when ZEUZ says it. Hades. If you know what I'm talking about, you're a superhero. Animal Crossing: New Horizons and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, this is where the contention is because it starts off right off the bat, pow! And that is that my friend thinks that The Last of Us 2 will get Game of the Year. Now, I highly disagree with that. I think that, let me just play the intro before I even get into it. Now, here we go. So I did not play Doom Eternal, so I'm not going to speak on games I didn't play. So I didn't play Doom Eternal. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy VII. I did not finish it. Played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. Did not finish it. Hades I did not play, and it's kind of a weird. It's because I'm pretty sure it's an old game, but it just got like more hype over time. Animal Crossing did not play. Last of Us I did not play, but I watched pretty much the entire thing because of the whole controversy behind it. So the game that I'm most versed in, I would say, from start to finish would actually be The Last of Us Part 2. Speaking of that, let me turn the lights on. Now you can see me. What I really wanted to talk about specifically is now The Last of Us Part 2 for the Game of the Year. My friend wants it to be that. The only reason why I say that I don't think it will be is specifically for the fact that I just think that it's a halfway point. I think some people really enjoyed the game, and I think that a lot of people did not enjoy the game. Let's say it's even 50-50. Some people might think 70-30, whatever, you know? So I just think that these other games that are on here, I've seen people talk about Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, all these guys. Hades coming back means a lot too, obviously, right? That people are playing it again. I'm pretty sure it's the game. I could be wrong. And Final Fantasy VII is a big old school thing that came back, and Ghost of Tsushima did phenomenal. So I just think that as far as like the other games, they don't have that weird controversy behind it. So I don't think that that's, I feel like it'd be weird if The Last of Us were to win Game of the Year for that exact reason. Like you would need a clean slate. Like Ghost of Tsushima has negative like things because of, you know, like the camera angles and stuff like that, or it gets boring after a while. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII, you know, it has like some bad, but mostly it's like a resounding like probably 90% positivity rate, you know, like. And I never heard anything bad about Doom Eternal. It's an old school classic. Same thing, Final Fantasy, old school classic. So it's like, it's really difficult for me to think like, like how would these games lose? Animal Crossing, I've never heard anything bad. I mean, I've heard some bad thing. I think the whole island flying thing, like, but still overwhelmingly positive. So like, I don't know how Last of Us 2 wins this. If it does, I would be out of my fucking mind if it does. Not saying again that it's a bad game per se. Like, I know I wouldn't rate the game a 2 or a 3. I think I give it like a 5. I just think the story sucked ass, you know, like that's just, I think that it could have been executed a lot better. I never did an M.F.O episode on it, but I did think that that was just the case. It was not that bad of a game. It's a rehash of the old game, which would be in the same thing as Final Fantasy VII, a rehash of the old game done with some sparkles, little sparkles there, but this one is a way better. If you're gonna rehash a game, Final Fantasy VII is a bigger, way crazier hash, whatever the heck you want to call it. So as far as what I think is going to win, I think Ghost might win, because I feel like that was just really big and it was a huge thing for a lot of people. I would kind of like Final Fantasy VII to win, because I feel like if it wins, maybe they'll do 9. Oh, eventually they'll do 8, right? And then maybe they'll do 9. Honestly, the more thing that Final Fantasy VII can win, the more support they get, then they can get my Final Fantasy 8, which was a really cool game, but then I can get 9. So that's my personal pick, is Final Fantasy 7. Ghost of Tsushima, I think, did really good. I think that that's what's going to actually win, because I feel like it's more other people, but 7 was a really big thing, and I feel like there was not that much bad or negative about it, really. I think it was a great experience for most people. And I think the sleeper hit might be Hades. So, of course, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys, so you can put Game of the Year, and then put whatever you think. Now, game direction. Now, they said awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Now, that's gonna be on the aspect of like, so like with the creative vision. So that would be like how they decided to implement like the game, I guess, like how they decided to drive the force of the game, and innovation in the game direction and design. I would almost lean towards Last of Us for that, just because of they took risk. You know, they did take risks, whether you like the risk or not. They did take some risks. They did try some things out. It just didn't hit. So as far as like best, I don't know if I'd even do it best, but I know that I feel like they might win it just because of the risk that they did or willing to take. And I do respect a game for taking risks like that, because sometimes if you go cookie cutter, you know, Ghost of Tsushima is pretty cookie cutter. You know, like the guy's just trying to drive his pathway to get to his uncle and restore the balance and whatever. It's pretty cookie cutter. The Last of Us is like a revenge plot, you know, kind of thing. Like, so cookie cutter. I did not play Hades, so I can't really comment on it. Final Fantasy 7 is an old plot. It is a, you know, it's still kind of the good guys going up to it. There's like a little weird stuff that goes on, but the biggest part about Final Fantasy 7, I think that's gonna hold it back, is that it's not a complete game. It's how you know the direction of the game, where it's only one part of the game, and we know that they're going to be releasing sequential parts going forward. So, you know, that's kind of I don't know, like, how do you know how good the game direction is until you play the other parts of the game to finish out Final Fantasy 7? So I'll have to go possibly with Last of Us. Unfortunately, I think that that's what's going to actually win. I think my personal pick would probably be Ghost of Tsushima, though. Because the reason why is just because when the little bit that I did play, it did have the aspect of like, you can kind of play how you wanted. You can play stealthy, or you could be up front. You can keep the samurai code going, and I do think that that's something that might appeal to a lot of people. Final Fantasy 7 though was cool. I think it's a lot of the same thing that was not from Final Fantasy. It's a big jump from the old game, but it's, as far as like you just hacking and slashing all day, you know, I don't know, didn't do too much, and I wish I played these two games to have more of a commentary on it. So best narrative, for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Narrative development. So we have 13 Sentinels, which unfortunately I did not play. Again, Hades is in a lot of these, which is, I feel like it's going to win a lot. I just don't know what categories. There's no way Hades doesn't come away with something. It has a big power behind it that you can't really ignore. Best narrative. So outstanding storytelling. I'm gonna be biased here. What might win is Last of Us, just because, like I said, they took a couple of risks. I don't think so. I wouldn't give it to it. Like I said, I didn't like the story, so I can't give it best story. That'd be hypocritical. I would actually go Final Fantasy here, because I think that they took the old classic and they fleshed it out a lot. I feel like from when I played Final Fantasy 7 and then when I played it updated, I feel like the characters were way more fleshed out. The characters and all the development that I got up to, like, Cloud seems like more realistic. Barrett seems more realistic. Tifa seems more realistic, and I think that that was a harder. Ares, like Ares. She seems way more in depth of characters in comparisons. When I first played it, I didn't give a fuck what I was playing. I do understood the story to a basic degree, but I feel like they fleshed out it enough for me to really be like, you know what, I really mess with the game. I'm really getting in depth with the character. But I think that Last of Us here, this is where they might take it. If they was gonna take it anywhere else, I think that they'll take it here, because it was, the risk that they took was crazy insane, as far as like how they decided to tell the story. So yeah, best art direction. Now, best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Now, Final Fantasy 7, I guess you could say like an achievement, as far as like them taking the game from its bare bonesness and bringing it up. I kind of want to give it to that, to be honest. The graphics, seeing all of the aeons, but obviously, you know, the Final Fantasies as they kept going was, you know, slowly improved graphically. So it's kind of hard to just give it to that. The Last of Us Part 2, I don't think, I don't know, outstanding creative, you know, art. I mean, the world is amazing looking. I have to give it that, but it would be the same knock that I'm giving Final Fantasy 7. Like, of course, the games are getting progressively better. Hades, I think if I were to look at it, I did look a little bit of it. Not my biggest cup of tea. Ori and the Will of the Wisp, I think looks gorgeous as a game. Like even like it looks amazing. So, and then also you have Ghost of Tsushima with the waves and the wind and all this stuff and the leaves. This one is going to be highly contested, I think. This one I can't actually call it. I think every game has that looks very beautiful. Hades in its own way. Ori looks gorgeous. Last of Us looks gorgeous. Ghost of Tsushima looks gorgeous. Final Fantasy VII looks gorgeous. They all look gorgeous. Technical achievement though, I think that's where they might, if Final Fantasy wins, is because of that, because of it's an old game turned new. I still want to kind of give it to Ori. So I think Ori will win, but I think Final Fantasy might sneak it out just because of its improvements and stuff. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of ugly stuff in Final Fantasy 7 too. Meanwhile, all the other games look better. You know what? I might give it to Ghost. I'll give it to Ghost then, because Final Fantasy 7 does have some little texture issues that are very, very apparent. Like they look really bad. So I'll reverse on that. Best score in music for outstanding music, inclusive of score, original songs, and licensed soundtrack. Obviously, if it has songs in it that are already, you know, others. I'm gonna go 7 on both. I think that 7's gonna win in general, and I also think that it's my personal pick. So it just has a really good music in it. Nobu Uematsu, the boy. Kind of hard to, like, for me personally to go over that. I love Final Fantasy music in general, so it is what it is. Best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. I'm assuming this is gonna come from like weird things as far as like, I guess like maybe how a gunshot sounds, how, you know, sword sounds, or how this sounds or that. This one is gonna be tough for me because obviously I don't know these two. I've watched a full playthrough of Resident Evil 3. So I mean, as far as like sounds, I don't know, like like that to me, yeah, like sound design, like how certain sounds come in, or maybe like things. I'm gonna just throw it up to the win. Last of Us Part 2, maybe give it something. I'll give it. There you go. You know, screw that game because I hate it all to the eternities. I don't hate it. I'm just kidding. I'll just give it to Doom because I think Doom, you know, something must have happened. Doom on both sides. Best performance awarded to the individual for voice over acting, motion, and performance capture. So obviously I can't really speak on Hades, and I really can't honestly speak on Miles Morales because I did not play those games. So we have Ashley Johnson as Ellie, we have Laura Bailey as Abby, and Tatsuji as Jin Sakai. I can really only talk about these three. I would have to say Ghost of Tsushima 100% does not get it. I don't know, Jin is an okay character. I just think that he's more stale because he's more, you know, he's like kind of learning, and I didn't get to the parts in the game and where I would maybe see that emotional break. Meanwhile, you have Ellie and Laura. Ellie, I use Ellie's character name and Laura. Ashley and Laura, I saw all of that, you know, so I kind of have to lean between those two. And as far as like an actual character, I think that Ellie is a more of expressive. I didn't like Abby as a character at all. It's no fault to actually Laura, you know, she's just playing her role. But Ellie, I think, goes through a lot more since she's the one that has Joel pass away. She's the one, like Abby, you don't really get that, and you know, you just kind of get that as snippets. But as you're playing with Ellie, I think all the time you're always keeping into that. And even though you may not like the story, or like I don't like the story, but Ellie kind of went through it the most, and I feel like she was played well. I feel like when she was flirtatious, she was on point. I feel like when she was snarky, all of the character dialogue, a lot of people that are just looking at the story clips, they don't know all the dialogue that was in between like Ellie, and I completely forgot the name of the chick that she was dating pretty much when they pretty much were on the road trip and she was pregnant. A lot of dialogue in there that you don't really get to see. Abby has that too, but they didn't sell me on Abby. So it's either Laura's fault or it's Neil Druckmann's fault. Whoever's fault it is, it's not my fault because I didn't like it too much. So I'm gonna go Ashley Johnson on this one, 100%. Games for impact. So for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So these are games that I guess you would play it and it had some really weird or really crazy like thought-provoking stuff. I don't know any of them, so I really can't give you specifics on it. So we're literally gonna go by the CD cover, and I'm gonna go with If Found. If Found looks spicy. And of course, guys, hopefully you leave a like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you're new to the channel. We're obviously gonna cover the Game Awards when it comes out. That's the reason why I'm doing the nominees, because I want to cover the Game Awards. I don't know if I'll do it live, but I'll definitely do a recap of it or something, or I won't watch it live and then I'll watch it with you guys. Best ongoing. These are the award for the game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Games as a service. These are the demonic games, and I mean, oh, actually, it's mostly mobile. I feel like they're somewhat demonic, but these are not so bad sometimes. So we got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty, Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. I will never give it to No Man's Sky just because of the controversy behind it. I don't give a damn how good it became. Though I guess for some people that might be a huge accomplishment for how far it's come from the initial thing. I should play that Jurassic Park video. If you guys ever want to laugh, look up No Man's Sky Jurassic Park. That shit has me dying for years. I would honestly go with Apex Legends because I feel like Call of Duty Warzone I think is the same thing as Fortnite, and these two games do really well. But I feel like Apex Legends kind of came in, they did a lot of good, and they still are up to where it is. They have tournaments and all that other stuff too, and I've always felt that I liked it better than what I did for the, like, I feel like obviously Fortnite would probably win the public opinion because it's Fortnite. It's been big money, big player base, big everything, but I'll have to go with Apex Legends. I kind of hope that they win, and then I think that it deserves it. I think the design of the game is great. I just couldn't keep playing it because, you know, I suck. Best Indie for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside of the traditional publisher system. But I think it's gonna go with Hades because I just feel like I said, that big wave of Hades gotta win something. If Hades doesn't win anything being in all these categories, I'd be pissed. Just saying. Best mobile game, and I'm finding it weird that Among Us is on here. I didn't know, I guess it started off as a mobile game. I thought it was a PC game specifically because I've seen more people playing on PC than being mobile. And also Among Us, from what I remember, was a game that was out for a while and then again got a resurgence. People just started playing it, and that's kind of how sometimes it just works. If Pokemon Cafe Mix wins, I'm dead. Genshin probably gonna win. I mean, that's just unfairly biased. It's pretty fresh in people's minds. Legends of Runeterra, though I think is an amazing card game, you know, it's been out for a while. Genshin Impact just dropped maybe like a couple months ago or a month or two ago, and it's still on a high rise and it's still pretty big. Meanwhile, I think these other games are falling to the wayside. Among Us does give it a run for its money because a lot of bigger streamers are playing it. Meanwhile, Genshin, I feel like not that many big people play it, and there's a lot of controversy in Genshin. So for me, I would actually think that the public might go with Among Us because it's still pretty fun to play. It's still pretty big. Genshin might fall short there, I think, just because of it does have some controversy with it. My personal pick would be Runeterra. I think that it's pretty good. I personally would want Runeterra to win because I think Riot did a really good job as far as making a card game from their already great IP. They made something else out of it, and it's still pretty good, and that's hard for them to do. And remember, League of Legends was like by itself for a while. They improved the game like crazy, then they started branching out. Now they're getting the mobile Wild Rift, now they got Runeterra, now they have TFT, and they try to adapt themselves, and they're going to make a fighting game eventually. So what they're doing, I think, is pretty incredible, and it's still the same characters. And I don't think that many other games outside of maybe what, like Capcom, have done that. You know, Capcom and Capcom Fighters, and then they have like the Capcom games. Like eventually you're gonna see like a action adventure League of Legends game. Like imagine that. Like that would be so cool. You're playing as Garen, or you know, and you're going through Demacia, and like but Garen's pretty much like Kratos, but you're playing like they have so much potential. So they need some credit, you know, because the fact that they didn't get where is it, Best Ongoing, and they're not here, but they got like, where's League of Legends? League of Legends has been a long-standing game, constantly updating, great updates, and they need something. Give them something, damn it. Best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. Ooh, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. So that's going to be like, a lot of these games are going to be out with. Apex Legends does have a decent amount of updates in it that I know of. Destiny 2, obviously, it's still around somehow. Fall Guys, I don't think so. Like I said, I think this game came in and out, and I don't see it anymore. Fortnite, I mean, it's Fortnite. Done amazing things. No Man's Sky, suck me. Never. Riot Games. Oh yeah, Riot Games does Valorant, so they even made a shooter kind of game too. Again, there was some controversy, and I feel like that went to the wayside as well. So for me, I'll just go with Apex. I think that Apex did amazing. Best VR AR, I didn't play any of these games, but like I said, I did watch some Half-Life Alyx, I think it is. So I'm just gonna go with Half-Life Alyx on both public and personal. Innovation and accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. This one's gonna be hard for me because, you know, I don't know some of these other games as far as like accessibility. Now, one thing that I do know for Last of Us 2, they did have really cool difficulty sliders that I did like. That would make it really cool, so you can, like, let's say maybe you didn't want the ammo restrictions, but you wanted to have the like you didn't mind taking more damage. That's something that I think would really make the game good, because Five Nights with Freddy's actually had it. I think it was it was a whatever Ultimate Custom Night or whatever, and like you can adjust how frequent the people come and attack you. So of course there was the hardcore mode when you slided everything to the right and it was like, oh, you like going crazy. But then you can also be like, you know what, I don't want to see that one that much, I'm bad at it. So you could adjust the adjust the game to you. And I think that that's really important, and I think that that's a really cool aspect, that I think that would be nice instead of an easy, medium, hard, you know, difficult, extreme, God mode. And like, honestly, sometimes you go into God mode and it's like, some stuff is really easy that you would have probably liked it to be harder, and then vice versa. Some parts are ridiculously hard, but you don't like that. I personally subscribe to that myself, because sometimes it's like, I don't mind, you know, taking a buttload of damage if I get hit or something like that, but don't screw over my ammo. I need the ammo. So like, sometimes it's too much restriction. So I do like that Last of Us gives you that option, and I think that that is something that pushes the envelope. That's action. Ooh, this is a highly contested thing here. Hades will go and get it, because I feel like when I looked up Hades prior to this video, there was a lot of things that I saw, like builds, or like, this is how you do this, and it looked interesting. So I think that maybe they'll get that. If it's not Hades, I think Neo 2 should win it. And I know nothing of Streets of Rage 4, or I don't know what they did in that. I don't know how they got the 4, but it is what it is. Best action adventure. Here we go. I definitely did not like the action aspect of Last of Us 2, just because I feel like there weren't bosses. I'm a big person on bosses and things feeling like big, and I think that all they had was like the Rat King, and I think the sniper. I'm trying to think, like, deep in my memory banks. Obviously the fight with Ellie as Abby, and then at the end the fight with Abby as Ellie and stuff like that. But it didn't seem like too crazy for me, as far as like, I wish that there was a little bit more bosses in this game for me to give it like action. They also see, look, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, so I guess there is that. But then again, they took a lot of puzzle solving, I think, out of Last of Us 2 from 1. 1 had a lot of like weird puzzles. So puzzles that I'm gonna have to nick Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think there's that many puzzles in that game. There's a lot of adventure you can go around and fuck around with, but I don't think about puzzles. I know the Marvel the Spider-Man game has a lot of like little puzzles and things to do. Ori, I'm not too sure. Star Wars I definitely saw a decent amount of, but I think for here, I'll probably just go default to Ghost of Tsushima, and possibly maybe Spider-Man. Actually, you know what? I'll probably go with Spider-Man. Even though I didn't see Miles Morales, I did see the first one, a lot of it, and I think that if they kept that same tempo, I think that this Miles Morales game should be right up that alley. It was amazing to see. The visuals were amazing, just to see all the gadgets and all the yeah, I'll give it to Miles Morales on that one, if it kept up the same mojo. Best role playing, we're gonna have Final Fantasy 7 coming back. It's been absent for a couple of these categories. Then we got Genshin Impact, Persona 5. I love the music in there. Why didn't this game go up for best music? I would have definitely gave it. Wasteland 3, and then Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think this is a newer game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why Genshin Impact is even here. No idea. So I will actually give this to 7. I think that it's one of the best known RPGs anyway. If it doesn't go to 7, I will give it to Persona. I've watched a lot of Persona, really in-depth game. I mean, if you want to talk about player character customizations and like really all that, there's a lot you can do in this craziness, including massively multiplayer experience. Yeah, that like nicks these games right in the ass. I think that this last part here is just to get Genshin in there. Maybe Wasteland 3. But I'll give it to Final Fantasy. Best fighting game. This one pissed me off, because why is One Punch Man here? If any of my FGC people in the building, why is One Punch Man here? Under Night in Birth, if you are in tune with it, at least people actually really play it, really fuck with it. One Punch Man is here for God knows what reason. Though I'm not a big fan of Mortal Kombat, the way that 11 plays, I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat 10. I do think that it has the biggest up forward. I think if it's not that, then it's gonna be Street Fighter, right? These two games are like the most popular. Grand Blue Fantasy does pretty good, but I feel like it fell off most people's radar after like a month or so of it being out. So I'm gonna go with Mortal Kombat there. Best family. Where is it? Mario Kart just kind of. How does Mario Kart lose this? How does it lose this? Best simulation strategy. I'm gonna have to biasly go with XCOM Chimera Squad. I'm a big XCOM fan. I did watch a decent playthrough of Chimera Squad. I think it was a nice little twist to the original XCOM. But Gear Tactics didn't look too bad to me, which was also XCOM-like. And yeah, I didn't play the other game, so screw it. Best sports racing game. Best multiplayer. So Animal Crossing, Among Us. Among Us is gonna just flat out take that. It has a really big wave. Maybe Valorant, but I think Among Us is still too big at the moment to take it. If the sleeper hit might be Animal Crossing. Content Creator of the Year, I know none of these people. Best debut game, like I guess a game that came out for the first. Only one I know is Mortal Shell, so we're gonna go with that. Sports Athlete, none of these people. Coach, none of these people. Esports event, don't know. I'll go with League of Legends here. It's nice that Riot has 2 games here, so there's a competitive Valorant. Did not know that. I mean, I should have known it, because why would Riot not get that money back? But I'll definitely go with League of Legends here. I still think that it's it's a great game to watch. If you guys don't watch, I would suggest you watch a game of League of Legends, professional League of Legends. It's amazing to see what they're doing and how 5 people can coordinate. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as Call of Duty, but since it's not like first-person shooter and then swapping around screens and stuff like that, to a first-person shooter, that's why I don't like this. I don't like Counter-Strike, and if Overwatch was here, I wouldn't technically like that. Sucks that Overwatch is not here, because that they need to just make Overwatch 2 and just get back in there. So please let me know what your picks are. But let me know your justifications. You guys, I know this is gonna be Paragraph City out there, bro. It's gonna be Paragraph City in the comments. But that's M.F.O. First look at the description, blow it out. You know what it is. If you're always about speaking your mind, get an M.F.O. shirt or the merch that has M.F.O. in the back and something cool in the front. All up to you. But more specifically, why M.F.O. is in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And remember that every day at the Casino is your lucky day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.